What's up YouTube, this is PZSian here. I know it has been a very long time since I've last made a video. I'm planning on making an update video in the near future, kind of explaining what's been going on. So yeah, but that's for the future. This video, I actually want to come back to the telescoping pen. This isn't going to necessarily be a review of the pen. I don't really plan on doing a review of the pen. However, I would definitely recommend this pen. I still recommend this pen, even after everything I'm going to be talking about in this video. This is the best pen I've ever used, 100%. This is a super duper nice pen. I highly recommend it. But the thing I'm really going to be getting into in this video is I'm actually going to be touching on a few things that you wouldn't actually have known from either looking at pictures or I've never actually even seen anybody, mention these things I'm going to be mentioning in their own videos. Without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into it. So, right here's the packaging. You've all seen this. I just figured I'd go ahead and put it in its packaging. I fixed my box, by the way, for those of you who saw my unboxing video. There's a little bit of super glue right here, and that's held up actually really well. It was some cheap, 4-pack dollar super glue at Walmart that I used, and yeah, that's not coming apart anytime soon. That's pretty good. So, let's go ahead and let's jump right into this video. Okay, so the first thing I would like to go ahead and mention or touch on is the fact that from the outside, and actually from what everybody has said, this is a solid aluminum pen. That is actually not the case. This is not completely aluminum, alright? Now, from the outside, it does look to be, a completely aluminum pen. However, if we go ahead and we unscrew this, alright, and we take a look at the inside here, you will in fact see that it's actually brass in there. Can you see that? So, we have a little bit of brass. Let's go ahead and let me actually take this out. Alright, just so it doesn't get in the way here. Yeah, it is. There is actually the majority, I guess, sort of the main body of this pen, or sort of the main structure, is actually made of brass. But it's kind of got this, I guess you could say, this aluminum sleeve kind of glued to it, maybe epoxied to it or something like that. I don't really know how you'd say that, but yeah, as you can see, it is really, really hard to see in there. I don't know where a flashlight is, but you can see in there that it is actually, there is a little bit of brass involved in this. Alright, now, you might have already caught note of something else I'm going to be mentioning, and that is that this is how the pen works. Alright? I'm going to basically be explaining to you guys how the pen works. So let me go ahead and let me put this back together. Okay, so this is so here's the basics of how the pen works. Alright, this is something that you can see from watching anyone's video or even from looking at the pictures on Amazon. The way the pen works is that we've got this little piece back here, alright, this rounded off thing. What you do is you pull back on it, and when you do that, it extends the tip. Now the way it goes about extending the tip, again, you can see this even in the pictures on Amazon, is that when I pull back on the thing here, let me go ahead and let me disengage the little clicking thing. When you pull back on it, you'll see that what happens is that the front collar here, when I pull back on it, it actually gets pulled back. You see that? So when I pull on this, it's going to be hard to show. Yeah, here you go. Pull back on that. Watch up here. You see that? And then obviously when I push it back up, it actually, moves the whole collar back up, and then there's a little bit of a click at the end. Alright, so that's how that works. This thing, when I pull back on it, lets this thing get pulled back, this way. There is a spring that actually sucks this thing back in, and then when I come to push this back up, this gets, obviously it gets pushed back up over the tip. So that's how the pen works. But what you can't see in a video, maybe this is maybe this is visible in some videos, but maybe I didn't even know about this. What actually causes this thing to move back and forth is actually, if I go ahead and unscrew this, we take a look back up in this close-up view, again, probably going to need to take this insert out. You can see that. Do you see that? Right there? That little peg? That peg is what actually gets pushed to move this thing back and forth like that. Alright, that peg is the only thing. If I go ahead and I pull back on the plunger, let me again disengage the clicking thing. Go ahead and I pull back on the plunger, you see how that's got sucked in? And then it's back. Boom, boom. Now something to note about that peg, it's going to be a little hard to show this, but you hear that? It actually is free floating in there. It is not supported by any springs of any sort. It's not, you know, pushed forward by a spring. It's not. It's literally just in there. It just kind of floats in there. All right. It's its own separately moving piece. So there you go. That is all that is being used to move your little collar back and forth. You see that? It's really, really hard to see in there. I wish I had a flashlight or something. So, there you go. If you remember from my unboxing video, or if you haven't seen my unboxing video, go back and check it out. This piece right here, you know, the little thing you unscrew to get to the insert, this right here was completely smooth. This surface was completely smooth. It does rotate freely, like that. You might have heard that rotating. As you can see, this little shiny metal plate is, you know, a part of the actual thing itself, the actual thing that covers the tip itself. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of a ring, you know, literally etched out in it because of that peg. So there you go. That's I mean, that's something to keep in mind. If I were, you know, what I would suggest doing is I would suggest maybe avoiding, you know, sort of turning this thing, because, you know, it hasn't really been an issue for me, nor has it been an issue for really anybody I've seen, you know, talk about this pen. But, you know, this little, you know, peg right there could maybe wear down a little bit, and or even break off if you're rough with the pen. So, you know, that's just something to take note of. Again, you know, nobody has ever really touched on that in their videos. That little, you know, the fact that all that's, you know, the fact that the thing that's, you know, responsible for the main mechanism of the pen is literally a tiny, tiny peg. So basically, don't be using this pen like, you know, I guess roughly, or how do I say, like, you know, don't be, you know, you know, you might think when you pick up this pen that, wow, this is like a completely solid bar of aluminum almost. It's like, you know, you might think you could use this maybe as some sort of an impact weapon. Well, you might be able to use it as an impact weapon, not that I suggest it, but you risk bending or breaking that peg. That is it, alright? That is the only thing, again, that, you know, is allowing this pen to work. So, you know, I would really not suggest, you know, doing that kind of stuff. So it's not really been an issue for me. It's not really been an issue for anybody else that I've seen. But again, just something to take note of. Now, I do have one more thing I want to go ahead and touch about on this pen. It's actually something that's quite a bit positive. And that is the sort of the, well, just watch this. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take the insert, and I'm just going to go ahead and drop it in. Just watch. Alright? Boom. Did you see that? Let's go ahead and tip it out. Do you see that? Might actually need to angle the camera up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Let's try that. Okay, so again, hold this up here. I'm going to go ahead and take this. Oop, make sure it's facing the right way. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop it in. See that? Huh, why is it not falling out? That's weird. Check that out. You see that, right? The little chamber that the cartridge sits in, literally is just about a perfect size. Just, basically the exact same diameter as the little cartridge here itself. Alright, you can pull it out and actually get a little popping noise because it creates a little vacuum if you pull it out fast enough. Hear that? It's an amusing sound, but it's also the sound of quality. I mean, listen to that. You hear that? You don't have to pull it out super fast. Still get the little noise. So, the hole here is a hair. I mean, just a hair. Like, even a fraction of a hair larger than the cartridge diameter itself. Which means it's a beautiful fit. Now, for whatever reason, it's not really falling in as smoothly as it normally does. Let's try it again. Boom. See that? I don't really like that tip hitting the ground like that. So, yeah, just seriously, I can't think of any other pins. I mean, I don't really have experience with a lot of pins, but I can't really think of any other pins that I've at least heard of that are, that has such a tight tolerances in terms of its, like, manufacturing. I don't really know of any pins that are, this. I mean, if I take this and I try and wiggle it back and forth, I mean, yeah, it moves back and forth a little bit, but just barely. I mean, barely. It's nice. So, there you go. And not only that, but when it's all the way down here, it's not all the way in yet. Yeah, there's actually a little bit of a friction fit, so you have to actually push down a little bit more to actually get it to go in all the way. And then it's not going to come out. Alright? So, there you go. That actually is there to prevent it from sort of flopping all over the place when you're riding with it. So, there's a little bit of a friction fitting at the end of the barrel, if you will. I don't really know the terms of these things. I wish I did. Like that. You might have even heard it snap in there a little bit. It doesn't really snap in there. It kind of sinks in there, but in that case it kind of snapped in. Listen. Boom. So I guess it does kind of snap in, but there's just a little bit of a tightened barrel at the end that holds the cartridge in place. What this means is that this pin is only going to be working with Fisher Space Pin cartridges. That is it. Unless if there's a cartridge that is basically identical to a Fisher Space Pin, that's not a Fisher Space Pin cartridge. That's all. You're basically stuck with it being a Fisher Space Pin. So, not that that's a bad thing. I mean, that's a very good thing. But just something to take note of there, just in case you might have a cheaper alternative that you use in your space pins when they run out. But not with this pin. But there you go. That's basically all I really wanted to talk about in this video. Were those three things that I mentioned there. So yeah, those are just some things that you really would not pick up on from watching a video or looking at a picture. So there you go, guys. If you are wondering if you should get this pin, as I said at the beginning of the video, yes, this pin is worth it. Seriously, this is the coolest pin I've ever used. It's also the nicest pin I've ever used. It looks nothing like a pin. I mean, seriously, have you ever seen a pin that looks like that? Before, obviously before this pin. Have you ever seen a pin, that looks like, this? It's bizarre. I like it a lot. So it really, I mean, like I say, that just the sheer, what is the word I'm looking for? Just the sheer precision that went into even the milling out or the drilling out of that barrel, for the ink cartridge is just, that you don't see that on cheap pins. You don't see that on a $20 pin. You see that, that's like a mark of quality there, in my opinion. This pin, it is a little bit up there, but it is worth it. It's actually a $40 pin. If you buy it retail, it's $40. I actually bought this off of Amazon, and I wound up paying $20 for it, somewhere like that. So if you want this pin, I'd suggest getting it off of Amazon. There are actually two variations. there's, this is obviously one variation, but then there's another one that's just like this, except there's a little golf ball at the end of it. It's kind of a, I don't know if it's commemorative or if it's just sort of a special pin for some golfer out there who just really likes his space pins or something. So much so that he wanted to get his own product out there. I have no idea, but there you go, guys. Definitely would recommend this pen. My only complaint is that since it's completely round and doesn't have a pocket clip, it does have a tendency to just kind of roll around in your pocket, and it could very well fall out. So what I do is I actually keep it in this case. So it's a little bit hard to get to because I keep it in the case, and I just, for now at least, I keep it in here just so that way if I pull it out, people will know what it is. But, eventually I'm sure I'll just switch over to just using this thing, because it'll be easier, I'm sure. Mostly I have it in the sleeve actually to hide the crack, because I don't like that being visible. If my casing didn't come cracked, which is just probably the fault of the mail carrier, I don't think it was like that when it actually was, when the person was actually packaging it up. But as I was saying, I think that's the fault of USPS, so don't worry about that when you get one. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this video here. Thank you all for watching. Again, I'll probably make an update video in the future, sort of explaining where I have been. You can imagine, pretty much college is just, it got a little bit insane this week, so there you go. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, and adios.